Well, hello everybody and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G. John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday, only here on Top Shelf Onlys. Want to welcome you to the January 12th, 2019 Vinyl Treasure Show on this cold, cold night here in New York City. I don't know about the snowstorm. I got the football game in the background there, and the news came on. They were showing this southern storm that hopefully doesn't come up the north here this way. Stay down in southern New Jersey. Don't come up here to New York anyway. But glad you can tune in here to the Vinyl Treasure Show. I'm live here on Top Shelf Oldies. Thank you, Clark, for the introduction, and I'm here for the next 2 hours. Got the webcam on, so if you go to JohnnyG's Vinyl Treasures on YouTube, you can come into the webcam. You can see all the cool 45s on the turntable. We opened up tonight with a 50s edition with a blues instrumental by a vocalist, guitarist, songwriter from Atoka, Oklahoma, Lowell Fulson. And he had 45 releases on Jack Lauderdale's Swing Time label. Just featured his 44th, a song he wrote, a song called Cashbox Boogie. And that one there from June 1953. And Fulson even goes back further. He goes back to the late 1940s, before this Swing Time label had releases on the Downbeat label. But that's a cool 45 to open up, I guess, for Cashbox Magazine, I guess you would think. Anyway, enough of my babbling here. Let's start off the vocal portion. We open up with the B-side of a 45 I played last week by a group called the Capris. Now, these aren't the Capris from Queens that did There's a Moon Out Tonight. This is a different group from New York. And I played the ballad side, My Promise to You. Let's flip the 45 over. It's got an up-tempo here from 1959. Here are the Capris on Sabre with Bop, Bop, Bop.
Everybody's at the hop, they're all doing the bop, bop, bop. Everybody's at the hop, they're all doing the bop, bop, bop. Everybody bop, everybody bop,
Sounds from 1959 to open up the vocal portion of the Vinyltreasure Show. That group called the Capris. It's on the Saber label. Last week I played actually I think the better side, really the ballad My Promise to You. But that's a cool rocker, kind of like a la a Royal Teen style, like song entitled Bop Bop Bop. Now the odd thing about this record is trying to find who this Capris group is, but I noticed today, actually Charlene pointed out that a teen guy by the name of Paul Anthony recorded the same sides, My Promise to You and Bop Bop Bop, on Roulette Records in September '58. Kind of weird it is, because this record's from '59. It sounds actually earlier than that Paul Anthony teen type version of it. Anyway, who knows? JohnnyG just spinning 45s out of his collection. Yes, I do. So let's continue here. Let's go to Detroit, Michigan for this cool female rocker on Robert West's Kudo label, one of the thousands of labels that your host JohnnyG collects. Not many releases on this label. Marv Johnson's debut 45 came out on the Kudo label. A very cool tune that he does. And this is not an easy release to find by this gal. Her name is Barbara Tennant. And she wrote this song as we go back to 1958 for Barbara Tennant on the Kudo label. Her tune's called Rock Baby Rock.
I rock all night and rock all day. I'm on a rock, baby, rock. I'm on a roll, baby, roll. I'm on a rock, baby, rock, to satisfy my soul. When I was young, we did the Tennessee waltz, but now with Chuck Berry do the stroll and the walk. I'm on a rock, baby, rock. I'm on a roll, baby, roll. I'm on a rock, baby, rock, to satisfy my soul. When he hears some rhythm, he's a loose and fancy free. I'm on a rock, baby, rock. I'm on a roll, baby, roll. I'm on a rock, baby, rock, to satisfy my soul. Got the rock and roll religion and I'm rocking all right. I'm on a rock, baby, rock. I'm on a roll, baby, roll. I'm on a rock, baby, rock to satisfy my soul. I walk down the street, I got rhythm in my feet, and all I want to do is rock to that beat. I'm on a rock, baby, rock. I'm on a roll, baby, roll. I'm on a rock, baby, rock to satisfy my soul.
That's a cool rockin' sound there by Barbara Tennant. Barbara Tennant, 1958. Rock Baby Rock is the name of the tune. It's on the Kudo label, Robert West's Kudo label out of Detroit, Michigan, with the band of Hundle Butts. Yes, it is. Kudo Records out of Detroit. JohnnyG here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the tunes. You know we count down the music chronologically here on the 50s, early 60s edition. And here's one that goes way back to 1952 out of Chicago. Female lead with male backing. This gal first recorded with the Lionel Hampton Orchestra back in 1946. She has 3 solo releases on the Mercury label. Then she was joined by Warren Suttles, Percy Green, Freddie Francis, and Joe Van Loan. They were called the Boyfriends. Now, the result was a top 10 R&B hit. And it features Bill Doggett on organ, Joe Thomas on tenor sax. And this song, first recorded by Eddie Howard, but we're going to give a listen to this version by Winnie Brown and her Boyfriends. We go to February 52, Mercury Records, Winnie Brown and her Boyfriends. The name of the tune is called Be Anything, Be Mine.
sunshine or my grief. Be anything, but darling, be mine. Be a wise man, be a fool, treat me tender or be cruel. Be anything, but darling, be mine. Climb to the top of the ladder, be master of all you survey. Fail and it still doesn't matter. If you love me, everything is okay. Be the angel of my prayers. Be the devil who cares. Be anything, but darling, be mine. Be the angel of my prayers. Be the devil who cares. Be anything, but darling, be
Well, they don't make records like that anymore, that's for sure. That's Winnie Brown and her boyfriend's February 1952 release on the Mercury record banner, Be Anything Dash Be Mine. That is the original. I was looking at a couple of label scans of this record, and they had Be Anything in parentheses, but Be Mine. I think that is a later press, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, Johnny G babbling on here. Let's continue here. Let's flip over another 45 from the last 50's show by this Washington, D.C. group. They're called the Heartbreakers. I played their fourth release for RCA Records. The song was called There Is Time, featured Robert Evans on lead. The flip side features tenor James Ross, who along with Lawrence Tate formed the group back in 1948. Let's give a listen to the Heartbreakers here from July 52 on RCA. It's called It's Okay With Me.
Now that you wanna run around and be the life of all the town, baby, that's okay with me. And when the boys have put you down, 'cause you just wanna run around, baby, don't look for sympathy. You were fine in my estimation, but you thought you were such a great sensation. Now that I'm trying to make you see, you were the only girl for me, baby, that's okay with me. I was oh such a great sensation. Now that I've tried to make you see, you were the only girl for me, baby. That's okay with me, baby. That's okay with me.
Early R&B here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Those are the Heartbreakers, July 1952 release, It's Okay With Me. That one there on RCA Records. They got a cool tune. Heartbreaker by the Heartbreakers is a good one on RCA. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Cold Saturday, so stick around for some hot tunes. And let's continue with another flip side from last week. I featured Johnny Otis and the Peacocks on Don Roby's Peacock label, a song entitled Young Girl. The flip is another cool up-tempo and a song he wrote under the alias of his wife's name, Phyllis Otis. That was an alias he used, but he wanted all the writer royalties, I guess. But let's give it a spin here. We move into 1953, October 53, for Johnny Otis on Peacock. It's called Rock Me Baby.
Rock me, baby, 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 all night long. Well, rock me and roll me, and baby, let's carry on. Let's carry on. Rock me to the right, rock me to the left. Kill me, baby, don't hurt yourself. Rock me, baby, 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 rock me till the broad daylight. Just think the flying monkey swinging in the street, pull the snaggle tooth, packet on a shuck with me. Rock me, baby, 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 rock me till the broad daylight, broad daylight.
Johnny Otis and Friends in the background there, rocking you, Rock Me Baby, the name of the tune. Two rockin' sides on that 45 on Don Roby's Peacock Records out of Houston, Texas, October 1953. Johnny Otis with Rock Me Baby. Let's continue now. Let's move into 1954 for this group that hails from Brooklyn, New York. They included Pringle Sims, first tenor, John Grant, baritone, Woodrow Jackson, bass, Seifert Britone, piano player and arranger, and lead singer Billy Clark. Collectively, they were known as the Strangers. Here's their fourth of six on Sid Nathan's King record label from October 1954. Here come the Strangers on King and their tune called Drop Down to My Place.
Drop down to my place. Drop down to my place, have a ball. Have a ball, have a ball, have a ball. Drop down to my place, have fun, have fun. If you feel you got the blues, and the blues you wanna lose, drop down to my place, have fun. Have fun, have fun, have fun. Drop down to my place, have fun, have fun. Drop down to my place, have fun, have fun. Don't sit around and mope all day, 'cause you know where there's a will, there's always a way. Drop down to my place, have fun, have fun. Join in, everybody, join in. Join in, join in, join in. Join in, everybody, let's sing, let's sing. I'm inviting one and all, and I'll be waiting for you to call. Drop down to my place, have fun. Have fun, have fun, have fun. Drop down to my place, have fun, have fun. Drop down to my place, have fun, have fun. Folks have so much on their minds, so guess we better tell them all one more time. Drop down to my place, have fun, have fun.
Do they even make xylophones anymore? When you hear a record with xylophones in it, anyway, that's pretty cool. The Strangers there, October 1954. Billy Clark doing lead there. Drop down to my place on Sid Nathan's King label, the fourth of 6 releases on the King record banner for the Strangers. And drop down to the Vinyltreasure Show from 10 to midnight Saturday evenings for original vinyl 45s with pops and scratches like you heard on that one. But it sounds so authentic, so better than those stereo MP3s. Yuck. Anyway, let's continue here. We head out to Los Angeles, California for this next group, as the lead previously sang with the Medallions, but when he left the Medallions, he took 3 of their members and formed this group called the Bel Airs. This was their debut single on Max Feartag's Flip record label. Features Donald Woods on lead. He also wrote the tune February 1955 now for the Bel Airs on Flip. It's called Let's Party a While.
Let's make it to the party, don't be late. I gotta meet my baby about 8:30.
Let's make it to the party.
Oh, let's make it to the party. Well, don't be late because night after holiday. Well, you shine your shoes and then you button your coat. Let's go. Oh, well, you shine your shoes and then you button your coat. Let's go. And if your mama at home, you better leave her know.
Come on, let's party. Why don't you party? I'll say let's party. Come on, let's party.
To the party, well, we didn't have a chance. Grabbed my little girl and then we split to another dance. Oh, let's make it to the party. Well, come on, girl. couple of minutes past. Cruising down the highway when we ran out of gas. Oh, we made it to the party. Oh, we made it to the party. And we wasn't late, you better get there straight. Let's party a while.
Come on, let's party a while. Why don't you party?
Come on, baby, let's party a while.
I said let's party a while. Come on, let's party a while.
Well, come on, girl, we're gonna party tonight.
Yeah, sounds of the West Coast here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Bel Airs from February 1955. Donald Woods on lead. Let's Party a While, the name of the tune on the Flip record banner. That's the Maroon Flip is the original for that one. Now, they would change to the Bel Airs when they were not backing up Donald Woods. So those Bel Air releases, I don't think they feature Donald Woods on lead. At least that's what I read. Johnny G here for Saturday evening. Let's continue now in 1955. Back to Sid Nathan's label, this time Federal Records, as we flip over 45 from last week by the Californians. Played the A-side, a song entitled My Angel, but I remember hearing the B-side on the Time Capsule show in the early 1970s when I used to tune in to Tom and Joe. We go back to July of 1955, the Californians on Federal. It's called Heavenly Ruby.
Da 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 da.
Heavenly Ruby, high in the sky, I love you, darling, until I die. Heavenly Ruby, I'll wait you and me. Don't worry, darling, you'll be with me. High up in the sky we'll go to share our life. You'll be my angel, both day and night. Darling, isn't this a lovely dream to wish for? Heavenly Ruby, untouched by human hand, we'll go there, darling, and start again. Sparkling diamond, high in the sky, I love you, darling, until I die. I'll be so true to you.
Yes, Lino, I have to agree with you. A great two-sided 45 there by the Californians, July 1955. Heavenly Ruby is the name of the tune. Sid Nathan's Federal record label. Those of you in the webcam video can see. I love the bio promos. Sometimes they give you pretty good information about the groups. Not this one, though. I like to hear the names, where they're from, etc. But I think Jesse Belvin in that group. You can hear him on the flip side of My Angel. But anyway, that's still a cool record, I say. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue and let's stay on Federal Records. Now, before Thurston Harris embarked on a solo career, he was a member of a group called the Lamplighters. They recorded 13 for the Federal record label. Here is their 10th, written by Thurston Harris, and I think he is doing lead on this one. It sure sounds like him. Let's go to February 1955, the Lamplighters on Federal. It's called Love, Rock, and Thrill.
I need someone to love me. I need someone to rock me. Need someone to thrill me. Need someone to hold me. Love me, rock me, thrill me all night long. Yes, I love you madly. Yes, I love you badly. Baby, don't tease me. Please, but squeeze me. Love me, rock me, thrill me all night long. I wonder why I love you like I do. Yeah, I wonder why I love you like I do. There's nothing in the world that I wouldn't do for you. 'Cause I need someone to love me. Need someone to rock me. Need someone to thrill me. Need someone to hold me. Love me, rock me, thrill me all night long. I wonder why I love you like I do. Yeah, I wonder why I love you like I do. There's nothing in the world that I wouldn't do for you. Yes, I love you madly. Yes, I want you madly. Baby, don't tease me. Oh, but squeeze me. Love me, rock me, thrill me all night long. All night long. All night long.
That sounds like Thurston Harris to me. Those are the Lamplighters. Cool sax break on that. I just love the saxophone in these records. I sure do. The Lamplighters there, February 1955. Love, Rock, and Thrill, their 13th release on the Federal Record banner. We continue in the year 1955 and continue with the flip sides from the last Vinyl Treasure Show. This time, we go to George Goldner's Rama record label. I played my favorite song by this group. It was called I Love You Darling, featuring Richard Barrett on lead. I also love the B-side, and I also think listener George Tompkins does too, so we'll send this one out to him. It's with Jimmy Wright and the orchestra. Here are the Valentines. November 1955, the flip side of I Love You Darling on Rama Records. It's called Hand Me Down Love.
Hand me down love. I don't want no hand me down love. I just want a real kind of love that is mine from the start. that you are lost. Got a love that I've never known, like the kind that I'm dreaming of, and not a hand-me-down love.
A great New York City group harmony there by the Valentines. Richard Barrett and the Valentines, November 1955, Rama Records, Hand Me Down Love. That was the B-side to their second of 7 recorded for the Rama record label, another label that Johnny G collects. Let's continue here and let's move into 1956. Here's another Johnny Otis involved 45. It's on the Ultra label, which would eventually become Dig Records, and one of Johnny's Otis's labels. Now, both sides are excellent. It appears to be the only release, though, for this group. They're called Sel Foster and the Audios. Let's go to January 1956, Ultra Records, Sel Foster and the Audios, and their tune is called I Prayed for You. Be-doo, 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 do-do-do-do-do, be-doo, be-doo, be-doo-do-do-do-do-do.
I prayed for you. You're the answer to my prayers, my dear. Please come on to me and stay right here, because I will love you forever, forever, forever and a day. Are you happy, my dear? I hope you will be leaving me. Yes, our love will live again. If you really do love me, darling, I loved you all the time you were gone, and now that I have you in my arms, I want to tell you, remind you to stay here forever. Please don't leave me anymore. They prayed for you. Yes, our love will be so clear. Yes, our love will be within, because I will love you forever, forever, forever and a day. Be-doo, be-doo, do-do-do-do-do-do, be-doo, be-doo, be-doo. Has a great West Coast sound there by Sel Foster and the Audios. January 1956 release there. I Prayed for You is the name of that one. Came out on Johnny Otis's Ultra record label. For you collectors out there, the true first presses of that should be on a yellow Ultra label. The second presses are the maroon, on the maroon Ultra. I played this maroon because it's in better condition, but that is definitely a cool sound. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the tunes here. Let's continue, and here's another flip side from last week. This group is out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They're called the Inspirations. I played the B-side of this 45 last week. It was called Goodbye. Now, the A-side is excellent, too, in my opinion. Now, it's on Jamie Records, Jamie number 1034, which is the second release for the label.
And we go to November of 1956. I tried to find some information on this group. I was looking in that book. I don't know if any of you collectors out there own this book. It's called The Philly Sound. And I know I saw a picture of Jason Thornton in there, as he was I think a contributor to that book. I couldn't find anything on this group because they got some great information on a lot of soul groups and some early 50s stuff, but it's like intermingled throughout the book. And I got to look through like 400 pages at the pictures. Thought I could find some information, but I did not. But anyway, let's give a listen to this record from November 56, The Inspirations on Jamie. It's called Dry Your Eyes.
Dry your eyes, don't you cry. Your true love is standing by. Oh, you must know I love you so, won't let you go. Can't you see that you and I were meant to be? Oh, you must know I love you so, won't let you go. Dry your eyes, don't you cry. Dry your eyes, don't you
November 1956, release there for The Inspirations. Dry Your Eyes is the name of the tune on the Jamie label. We're going to send that one out to Matey Campboy, who's watching Johnny G on the YouTube stream. She loves that tune. So do I. Great tune there. You collectors out there, you want to get the second press of that. It came out again in 1962. Jamie Records repressed it with the vertical Jamie logo. It's not on the original black label, but you can get it. It was with the revival of the music in the early 1960s. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue. This next group, they are from Newark, New Jersey. They go back to the late 1940s with releases on Herman Lubinsky's Savoy record label. They were named after the Piccadilly Lounge, a night spot in the heart of Newark, New Jersey, in the late 40s, early 50s. Now, in the 50s, they recorded for several labels like Columbia, Coral, Melmar, Groove, X, and others. But in 1956, they recorded two on Henry Stone's chart label. I'm featuring I think this is their second. Now, the lead singer goes by the name of Bonnie Davis. Her real name is Gertrude Melba Smith, and she would have a daughter, Melba, who grew up in as a 1970s singing star, Melba Moore. So this is her mother, Melba's mother, singing lead on this record. Her name is Bonnie Davis, and she's a lead with the Piccadilly Pipers. And this one goes back to May 1956, the Piccadilly Pipers and the Piccadillys. It's on Chart Records. It's called A Lonely Lover's Prayer.
won't you make him care? Ah,
May 1956, release there for the Piccadilly Pipers and the Piccadillys on the chart record label A Lonely Lover's Prayer. That's the second of two on Henry Stone's chart record label out of Miami, Florida. Chart records. There's some good records on the chart label. Yes, there are. Johnny G moving on here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Let's move into 1957 for this group from Dearborn, Michigan, recorded for George Braxton's Fox label out of Detroit. They consisted of Tom Hurst, tenor, Bob Broderick, second tenor, Bernie Turnbull, baritone, Don Davenport, bass, and the lead singer goes by the name of Ron Morris. Collectively, they were known as the Laredos. I'm featuring side one of their 45. I think that's it. Is it side one? As I lose my mind? I can't tell. I can't see. Anyways, it's a cool tune that I like. September 57, the Laredos on Fox. It's called Now the Parting Begins.
And now the parting begins. The way we love was in. Yes, we talked it over then. You decided this way. My dear, I miss you so. I didn't ever want you to go, 'cause I really love you so. But you want it this way.
You brought me a new love, yes, and I thought it was a true love. Now you're walking out on me. You say it's over, yes, yes, all over. You're hurting me, can't you see?
It's over and done. You played the game and won. Yes, darling, you had your fun. You've had it your way.
September 1957, release there for the Laredos. The Laredos, it's on George Braxton's Fox label. Now the Parting Begins is the name of the tune. Actually, it says, I said side one. I got to see, because all these records on, at least this record, I see a lot of writing on the label. Actually, it's not side one. Somebody crossed it off and made it side one. That's really side two. I knew the up-tempo side. Bad Guitar Man is actually pretty good, by the way. Anyway, those are the Laredos. It featured side two. They also back up Danny Zella on his release on the Dial label. Now, Zella also recorded for the Fox label, had a hit in 1958 called Wicked Ruby, and then this Laredos group would eventually evolve to become the Reflections Reflections on the Golden World label, if you know their hit Just Like Romeo and Juliet. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue. We stay, excuse me, in the year of 1957 for this group from Nebraska that formed at Omaha's Technical High School. Started out as gospel singers, but their manager, Paul Allen, persuaded Johnny Otis, here he is again, who was touring Nebraska at the time, to listen to this quartet. And as a result, Johnny was able to get them a contract with Don Robey's Duke label and also gave this group their name. They released 4 on the Duke label. This is their 4th, written by the lead singer. His name is Willie Barnes. We go to September 57 for the Sultans. The Sultans on Duke. It's called If I Could Tell.
If I could tell what this feeling deep inside, if I could tell, then I wouldn't hide my pride. I'm afraid to say that I love you more each day. If I could only tell, if I could only take your little hand in mine, if I could only feel your lips close to mine, then I'd tell you so. What my heart knows is true. If I could only tell, oh, I'd tell the world you're mine. I'd say that you're divine. Tell them I love you so, and I'll never let you go. If I could only tell of this feeling deep inside, if I could tell, then I wouldn't hide my pride. I'm afraid to say that I love you more each day. I'd tell the world you're mine. I would say that you're divine. I'd say I love you so, and I'll never let you go. I would tell, you're mine. You're mine. Do
We'll send that one out to Steve Green, currently in the Top Shelf Oldies chat room. He likes that tune by the Sultans. Willie Barnes is on lead for that one, September 1957. That's their 4th release on Don Robey's Duke label. If I Could Tell is the name of that one. A notable member of this group was Gene McDaniels. He went on to have a number of solo hits for the Liberty label in the early 1960s, like 100 Pounds of Clay and Tower of Strength and some others too. Now, this group later also became the Admirals, that recorded 2 on the King record label, 2 great sides by the Admirals on the King label. As we continue here in the year 1957, you all know this next group that formed in Harlem's Cooper Junior High School back in 1955. They won first prize on Ted Mack's Original Amateur Hour, which brought them to the attention of WWRL disc jockey Tommy Smalls, a.k.a. Dr. Jive, who gave them their name and orchestrated their contract with OK Records, which resulted in 3 releases on OK Records. We're going to give a listen to their second. It features Leslie Martin on lead. We go back to April 1957. Give a listen to the Schoolboys on OK Records. It's called I Am Old Enough.
I'm old enough, oh, to
Those are the Schoolboys. The Schoolboys on the OK record label, the second of three on OK, April 1957. Leslie Martin's on lead, of course. You know their signature song, Please Say You Want Me. They would have one more release on George Goldner's Juanita record label. John G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes. We are in the year 1957, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Los Angeles group called the Native Boys, recorded for Jack Porter's Combo label. They broke up sometime in 1956, but group member Freddie Romaine formed a new group with his friend Danny Christian and two ex-members of the Flares, George Hollis and Kenneth Biley, and re-recorded the last Native Boys release. The song was called I've Got a Feeling. I was going to say I Got a Secret. I do, but I've Got a Feeling was the song. Now, they recorded I've Got a Feeling for Lenora Roop's newly formed Ebb label. Now, she was the ex-wife of Art Roop, owner of Specialty, and she used the divorce settlement money to set up her new label, Ebb. And this was the debut 45 on the Ebb label. And here are the Ebb tones from March of 1957 with Freddie Romaine on lead, Ebb Records. It's the resung version of I've Got a Feeling.
I've got a feeling and I know I'll never, never, ever let you go, 'cause I love you, baby, baby, indeed I do. Indeed I do. I've got a feeling, thrill me. Oh, oh, baby, make me see you love me like I love you tonight. Love you tonight. Kiss me once, kiss me twice. Oh, baby, that's so nice. Love me, love me, love me, dear. I want you here, 'cause I've got a feeling and I feel, yes, the way no one else feels. I love you, baby, baby, yes, it's true. Yes, yes, it's true. Kiss me once, kiss me twice. Oh, baby, that's so nice. Love me, love me, love me, dear. I want you here, 'cause I've got a feeling and I feel, yes, the way no one else feels. I love you, baby, baby, deep I do, I do. I've got a feeling, baby, deep I do, I do. Yes, I do, I do.
I guess you can call that a cover tune. You cover your own tune, but although they weren't the original. But that group called the Ebb Tones on Lenora Roop's Ebb label. That is the first record on the label, Ebb 100, March 1957. I've Got a Feeling is the name of that tune. Now, Fred Romaine was on lead. He did lead on the first version, also as done by the Native Boys on the Combo label back in 1956. Let's continue here and move into 1958 for this next group. They formed while attending Charles Evan Hughes High School in New York City. They signed with Bess Berman's Apollo label, which resulted in 4 releases. I'm featuring their 4th and final, which is, for you collectors out there, their hardest, although this one cost me 35 cents when I purchased this white promo. Anyway, it features Alton Campbell on lead. We go to February 58. I posted this one up on my Facebook wall. These are the Cellos on Apollo with their tune called I Beg for Your Love.
Take my love and my kisses. Take my heart, my soul. You can make me so happy. I beg for your love. Fill these arms that are empty. Fill my heart with joy. You can make me so happy. I beg for your love. Give me the chance for sweet romance. I love you. I knew it was you from first glance. I knew it was you. Take my love and my kisses. Take my heart, my soul. You can make me so happy. I beg for your love. I beg for your love.
What a great record that is. Warren, I don't get that luck anymore. I wish I could find records like that for 35 cents. I would give my right toe for that if that was the case, but unfortunately, very hard to find records like that cheap. Anyway, you got to go scrounging through. Don't have the time or the energy to, but that's a great record there. February 1958, the Cellos on the Apollo record label. Alton Campbell on lead. I Beg for Your Love is the name of that one. Of course, their biggest hit was their first release, Rang Tang Ding Dong. I'm the Japanese Salmon. Did very well for that group. 62 on Billboard, 42 on Cashbox. The flip side is a killer ballad, You Took My Love, on that, their biggest hit. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on these cool tunes. Let's continue now. We are in the year 1958. Opened up last week's vocal portion with the Isley Brothers. Played the B-side to their first of two on George Gallner's Gone label. The song was called I Wanna Know, Baby Will You Be Mine. A fantastic rockin' tune, and the intended A-side of the 45 is another cool rocker. It features Ronald Isley on lead. We go to February 1958, the Isley Brothers. The Isley Brothers from Cincinnati, Ohio, on Gone Records. It's called Everybody's Gonna Rock and Roll.
Gather round, everybody, and clap your hands. Yeah, let's go find a party, get ready to dance. Oh, put a smile on your face like you just struck gold. Grab your partner and don't let her go. Yes, for the young.
That's a great two-sided rockin' record for sure by the Isley Brothers. February 58 release, Everybody's Gonna Rock and Roll, George Goldner's Gone record label. That is the first of two they recorded on Gone. They recorded on other labels that George Goldner owned also, but that features Ronald Isley on lead. The lyrics are interesting. You got to listen to those lyrics. Very talented act there, the Isley Brothers. Let's continue. We move into 1959, and the Isley Brothers were out of Cincinnati, Ohio. This next group, they are out of Columbus, Ohio. They were originally called the Columbus Pharaohs and released their first single, their debut 45, on the Esta label in March of 1958. Few weeks later, that same month, Ransom Records released it as the Four Pharaohs. Then, while the group was touring through Nashville, Tennessee, they met a disc jockey who knew a record label owner, High Weiss, and the masters were then picked up by High Weiss and put out on his Paradise label. That is the side that I'm spinning. This features Morris Wade on lead. We go to April 59 for, I guess, the third press of this record on Paradise. The Four Pharaohs with Give Me Your Love.
Give me your love, and I will make you mine. Our love will flow as smooth as wine if you just give me your love. Promise to love only you. I promise our love will be true if you just give me your heart. You know, darling, you know I love you. I love you with all your many times. Give me your love, and I will make you mine. Our love will flow as smooth as wine. If you just give me your love. Darling, give me your love.
As Morris Wade and the Four Pharaohs on that record there. Daryl, on the chimes is not on the Esta release or the Ransom release. I have to pull my 45 out and check it out if the chimes are on that one, but he's saying the chimes are new to him on this one. I got to check it out. February 58. April 59, the Four Pharaohs on Paradise, Give Me Your Love. And believe it or not, this song came out one more time, was actually re-recorded in late 1963 by Morris Wade and a new group. They were called the Egyptian Kings on the Nance label. I even have that one. That we could check that one out too. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue. We go, I think, out of sequence here a little bit. We go back to 1958, and it's a flip side from last week's show. Featured the B-side of this 45 on last week's show. The group from Brooklyn, New York. They were a Hispanic group called the Temptations. They were forced to change their name because of another Temptations group that recorded for Savoy, or at least they were on Savoy prior to this Temptations recording for King, and they changed their name to the Van Dykes. But I played the B-side to their debut 45 called Standing Alone on King Records. But let's give a spin to the intended A-side, which was written by the bass of the group. His name is Raymond Martinez, and I think he's also doing lead on it. February 58, this is the A-side for the Temptations on King. It's called Roaches Rock.
Roaches, roaches rock. Ooh, roaches, oh, roaches, roaches, oh, there once was a crazy little roach who loved to rock and loved to roll. He rocked all day, rolled all night. He rocked and rolled till broad daylight. Ooh, roaches, oh, roaches, roaches, they hide in between the crack and the wall, rocking and rolling and having a ball. They dance and dance until they fall. I bet they're having a great big ball. All those crazy little everywhere I go there's what gonna do is rock with crazy roach. All kinds of roaches you can find, but not a roach cry like mine. Don't waste no time trying to find a crazy little roach that rock like mine. No time, time to find a crazy little roach that rocks like mine. Ooh, roaches, oh, ooh, roaches, oh, ooh, roaches, ooh, roaches, oh. Roaches, oh, ooh, roaches, oh, ooh, roaches, ooh, roaches, roaches, all those crazy little roaches, everywhere I go there's roaches, what I'm gonna do is rock with a crazy roach. All kinds of roaches you can find, but not a roach cry like mine. Don't waste no time trying to find a crazy little roach that rocks like mine. Six like we do with the party friends, oh, roaches. Six like we do with the party friends, oh, roaches. Six like we do with the party friends, oh, roaches. Six like we do with the party friends, oh, roaches. Six like we do with the party friends, oh, roaches. Six like we do with the party friends, oh.
February 58, release there for the Temptations on the King record label. Roaches Rock is the name of the tune. You know, Roaches Rock, I can probably do a whole show this coming summer on insects. It's either insects or groups named after insects. That would be a very cool tune. And, Fred says that the Savoy Temptations were from Bayonne, New Jersey. Okay. And, I said, but that was the reason why they had to change their name. Anyway, but that's a cool tune there. Roaches Rock. Johnny G playing insect songs here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes here. Let's continue. Up next, I have an R&B duo from the Bronx, New York. Robert Carr and Johnny Mitchell, a.k.a. Robert and Johnny. Discovered by High Weiss, who signed them to his Old Town record label in early 1956, which resulted in 16 releases between 1956 and 1962. Now, you all know their signature song from 1958, one of my favorite duet songs called We Belong Together. And that was their fifth for Old Town. Up next is their follow-up to We Belong Together. We go to May of 1958. High Weiss's Old Town record label, Robert and Johnny, with their tune called Marry Me.
Do you take
this girl to be your wife, to fuss and fight for the rest of your life. Marry me, da, da, da. Marry me, da, da, da. I love you, yes I do. I want you for my wife. Oh, won't you, baby, please marry me, da, da, da. Marry me, da, da, da. I need you, yes I do. I want you for my wife. Oh, won't you, baby, please marry me, marry me, marry me. Oh. I'll take girl to be my wife. Promise to love her for the rest of my life. I need this girl. Yes, yes I do. Say that you love me too. Oh, you marry me, oh, please marry me. I want you to be my wife, for the rest of my life. Da, da, da. Marry me, da, da, da.
That's Robert and Johnny on the Old Town record label, their tune called Marry Me, released in May of 1958. Now, when that 45 first came out, it was on the standard yellow Old Town record label. Then almost immediately, the label color with this number and logo was changed to the blue. And the original flip side of this, on this side, was called I Know. They replaced it with I Believe in You, which did chart nationally on the Billboard charts, by the way, but that's why there are two different flips. I don't know why he did that, but he just did. Oh, that's Mr. Highwise. Anyway, as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, now we are in 1959 for sure. Now, this next artist is known more for his acting than his involvement in the music business, which was mainly writing, but also he was a singer. But you might know him from the 1988 remake of the 1958 horror classic The Blob. This singer was the evil governmental Dr. Meadows in the 1988 remake of The Blob. He also had many appearances on The Cosby Show, but he was also a very prolific writer with hits like Talk to Me for Little Willie John and Break It to Me Gently by Brenda Lee and so many others. But here's one he wrote in late 1959 for himself on the Everest label. We go to December of 1959. Joe Seneca on Everest, and his tune called Overnight Success.
Overnight success, that's what I am, because of you, little girl. Last night I wasn't nobody. You took my hand, and now I'm on top of the world. Overnight success, yes, that's me. I'm living in a world of bliss. Last night I was so low, you lifted me up to the top of the world with a kiss. Now I'm on top. I'm on the top. Yes, I'm on top. I'm on the top. Yeah, no one feels greater than me. Well, I'm a king, and I'm on a throne. And with you, sweetheart, that's what I'll always be. Whoa, overnight success, yes, came my way. My thanks to you, little girl. Last night I was lonely, you gave your love, and now I'm on top of the world. Oh yes, 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 overnight success. Yes, yes, it's overnight success.
December 59, release there from Mr. Joe Seneca. Joe Seneca on Everest, Overnight Success is the name of the tune as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Here's a rare 45 I purchased out of the collection of Nick Nicola a long time ago when he was selling out. It's on Benjamin F. Allen's New Cat label out of Richmond, Virginia. It's the only release for this group called the Five Roses. And they're being backed up by Richmond's Little Walters Band. We go to April of 1959. Give a listen to the Five Roses on New Cat. It's called Romance in the Spring.
Romance in the spring. The wind blew cool in the middle of May. It blew you, darling, right my way. That's what makes things so happy and gay. Romance in the spring. Whoa, whoa. Spring is here. I'm glad to say I'm going to sit with you the rest of the day. Come on, darling, let us sing romance in the spring. Oh, wake up, my darling friend. I want to tell you that spring is here. Spring is here. I'm glad to say I'm going to sit with you today. The wind was cold in the middle of May. It blew you, darling, right my way. Come on, darling, let us sing romance in the
That's a rare 45 on the New Cat record label out of Richmond, Virginia. They're called the Five Roses. April 1959, Romance in Spring is the name of that one. Not spring yet. I don't know if they're talking about the snowstorm. I'm looking at it now. We've got about 30 degrees where Johnny G is here in New York City, but looks like it's, don't don't snow. I'm not in condition to go out and shovel. No, I am not. Anyway, John G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the tunes here. Let's continue. Let's stay in the same month and year of April of 1959 for this group out of Newark, New Jersey. And they were managed by a singer we just heard a couple records ago on Everest, Joe Seneca. He managed this group. And they only had one release, which came out on the Warner Brothers record label, written by group member Steve Barnhart, features the lead singer of Bobby Klein. This is the intended A-side of the 45. Go to April of 59 on Warner Brothers for the Mellow Gents. Mellow Gents, and their tune called Baby Be Mine.
Baby, be mine, because I love you so, and I want the world to know that we go together. Please take my hand, then we can go into love's wonderland. My heart is longing for you. Oh, baby, be mine. Maybe someday you'll come my way, and I will be pleading for you. Baby, you see, your heart belongs to me, so let the world know. Baby, be mine, because I love you so, and I want the world to know that we go together. We go
Always like that tune there by the Mellow Gents. Mellow Gents, April 1959 release, Baby Be Mine is the name of the tune. And Bobby Klein, he's on lead. That one there on the Warner Brothers record label. As we continue here on the Vinyltreasure Show, and we head back to Philadelphia, we go to Russ Faith and Herb Gordon's Rex label, this group out of Atlantic City, New Jersey. Now, this record with the release date had me so puzzled. I tried to do a lot of research on this one. Now, the books say 1961. That is definitely not correct. It's more like 1959, the true release of this, but it was recorded much earlier. Sounds like an earlier sound. I think the copyright lists this as March of 57, which probably makes more sense. But that would be the latest it was even recorded. Maybe it was recorded even prior to that, because sometimes the copyright is registered after the release of the record, so it's not always before. But they are called, the group is called Ronnie Booker and the Boardwalkers. And I'm going to say it's from 1959. And the name of the tune, it's on the Rex label. The name of the tune is called She Won't Go Steady.
I'd give my life to her, want her to know. I'd give my soul to her, love her so. She doesn't care though. knows she treats me just like a fool. I don't lose my head, I stay real cool. She doesn't care though, she won't go steady, no, no, no. There are times when I regret some things that I've done. I know someday she will cry, yes, Daddy gone. Well, yes, Lord, I want her, want her so. I know she loves me, please let her know. She doesn't care now, she won't go steady, no, no, no. Now there are times when I regret some of the things that I've done in my life. I know someday she will cry, yes, Daddy, you won, oh, 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 yes, Lord, I want her, I want her so. I know she loves me, please let her know. She doesn't care now, she won't go steady, no, no. Oh, oh, oh. She won't go steady, no, no. Oh, oh, baby, ooh, how you move me.
That sounds earlier than 1959. I said the copyright said, May of 57, but I even think it's before that. But that's Ronnie Booker and the Boardwalkers. It's on the Rex label out of Philadelphia, PA. It's called She Won't Go Steady. Now, the dealer, there was really only one dealer that from southern New Jersey that had quantity at one time on this 45 where you can get a mint copy. That's where I got my copy from. His name is Ken Thompson. I wonder if he's still, I think he sold all his copies on eBay. He had, I forget how many he had. He told me he didn't have so many. I'm like, Ken, you got to tell me how many you have. Because if you have 20 copies, you can't sell this record for like $800 or $900. You can't. So I didn't pay that much for the record, but it has sold. I think his lesser copy sold for about $200 or so. I paid more than that, but it's a nice mint copy. Anyway, Johnny G babbling on here. Let's continue. We are in the year 1959, but I have no information on this next group as we head back to California to Eddie and Leo Mesner's Aladdin label. This group is called the Royal Halos. So if anybody has any information, send Johnny G an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. They're called the Royal Halos. It appears to be the group's only release, and I like both sides of this 45. We're going to play the intended A-side today or tonight, and then next week the flip. We go to August of 59, Aladdin Records. This is on the styrene white promo, the Royal Halos with Nobody But Me and My Girl.
Nobody but me and my girl picked her up about 7:15. The finest thing you ever seen. We started riding, just riding around, and then we thought about going downtown. We went, woo, nobody down, whoa, nobody down. Nobody but me and my girl. We left town about 7:45. She said, you know I can't stay out late, and at the beach it get real, real cold. That's when she started coming real close. We went, woo, nobody it was 9:30. I had completely forgot about time. I kissed the horn and I squeezed the time, and everything seemed to be alright. We went out, woo, nobody now, whoa, nobody now, nobody but me and my girl. I kissed her once, then I kissed her again. I said, come on, baby, do it again. I took her home, it was sad to part. That last kiss almost broke my heart. We went out, woo, nobody now, well, nobody now, nobody but me and my girl.
Well, Warren and Fred have that 45. You know anything about it? Warren, I think you requested this possibly from me at one time. You wanted to hear this. I just found it in the box the other day going through records. August 59, they're called the Royal Halos on Aladdin Records. Nobody But Me and My Girl. It sounds like Jim... Does it sound like Jim Dandy a little bit? I don't know. Maybe the theme song of that. Johnny G losing his mind here. Excuse me, for a Saturday evening as we continue here and losing my breath. So I purchased this next 45 from Roy Adams, owner of Downstairs Records back in 1972 when it first came out, but it was recorded back, I'd say 1959 or even 1960. It was taken off of an acetate, so even though my 45 is mint, it sounds kind of muddy, but it's muddy because of the acetate, the transferring of the acetate. But it features a young Mike Kelly on lead. Now, when Joey Vann, who was the lead singer of the Duprees, he left the group, Mike Kelly replaced him as the lead singer. But this group is called the Vocal Teens. They were called something else, the Parisians, I think, possibly on it, but I don't know. But Roy Adams put the Vocal Teens on this record. But anyway, I'm going to say it's 1959. It's on Downstairs Records, the Vocal Teens with their tune called Be a Slave.
Randy, Bobby, Bobby, run, run. Randy, Randy, Bobby, Bobby, run, run. Randy, Randy, Bobby, Bobby, run, run.
Your love, yes, I need your love. I'll be your slave, be your slave. Your lips are like wine.
Yes, Warren, I have to agree with you. That is a great record no matter what. But they're on the 45. They're called the Vocal Teens. And supposedly Mike Kelly, he was 14 years old. He was a teenager when he sang lead with that group there. Be a Slave is the name of that one on Roy Adams' Downstairs record label. And that definitely is a cool tune there. And what did I want to say about this record? I wanted to say something about this record that I'm losing my mind. Well, a lot of the group collectors, they did buy this record when it came out back in 1972. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. If you own any of the acetates, that shellac on the acetate, every time you play an acetate, you wear it out. They don't last forever. Well, vinyl doesn't last forever either, but you can get thousands of plays on your records if you don't play them consecutively one after another. But if you play an acetate one after another, you are going to ruin that acetate, and they start deteriorating. They do. And also, did you know that acetates are also, they cause cancer? Yes, they do. So be very careful about those acetates. Don't sleep with your acetates. Anyway, Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue. And here's another flip side from last week's Vinyl Treasure Show. This group called the Cameos. I played the A side of their second of two on the Matador label, their version of Canadian Sunset. They were from Coraopolis, Pennsylvania, a suburb of Pittsburgh, PA, and it features Donald Carter on lead as we move into 1960. October 1960, the Cameos on Matador with a B-side. It's called Never Before.
Never before did I love one like you. Never before did my heart feel so true. Never before, no, never before did I love you to stay. Never before was one love my way. Never before, no, never before. I love for you was more than I could give. Whenever we met at the start, I asked you then, my darling, please come live forever right here in my heart. Never before did I love one like you. Never before did my heart feel so true. Never before, no, never before. Never before, no, never.
That is definitely the better side. I like that side. I was going to play that last week, but I needed an up-tempo. I needed something up-tempo. So that's why I flipped that side over. Anyway, that's a cool tune. Donald Carter on lead, the Cameos. October 1960, Never Before on the Matador record label. Let's continue. Let's go to this trio out of Brooklyn, New York. Their first two releases came out on the Studio label out of New York City. They do a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on on the studio label. That is the Sound of the Season. But they would have 2 more releases on the Shelley label out of Long Island. I'm featuring their first. It's with Bobby Rogers. He's on lead. This one from June of '61. Give a listen to the Melodiers on Shelley. It's called The Letter. Those are the Melodiers. The Melodiers from Brooklyn, New York, June '61. Excuse me, the first of 2 that they recorded on the Shelley label, The Letter, who features Bobby Rogers on lead. Let's stay in 1961. Now, earlier, I played a flip side from the previous week by the Capris on Sabre. How about a flip side from the previous week from the Capris from Queens on the High Weiss's Old Town record label with Nick Santa Maria on lead? I played Tears in My Eyes. Let's flip that 45 over. Give a listen to their third of 4 on Old Town Records, May '61. The Capris on Old Town with Why Do I Cry?
Why is it I cry every time I go wandering? And I go wandering, all with you by my side, all forever, until the day I die. But today we are more than friends, and we'll go on just being more than friends, all together side by side. I miss you every Monday morning.
Those are the Capris. That's their third of four on High Weiss's Old Town record label. Why Do I Cry is the name of that one. May 1961, released the late Nick Santamaria on lead. As we continue here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime, as we go to another Brooklyn, New York group I featured last week. They were called the High Tones on the Fonsco record label, who previously recorded as the Shy Tones on the Spot / Goodspin labels. Played the A-side of their 45, their second 45, called No More Pain. So let's flip it over before I file it back down in the No Humidity basement. It features Sal Coveas on lead. This one from March of 61, the High Tones on Fonsco. It's called I Don't Know Why. That group called the High Tones. It's on the Fonsco label. Their first release was on the Fonsca label, which is much easier, A Lover's Quarrel, much easier than this one on the Fonsco label. March 1961, the High Tones with I Don't Know Why. I won that on an auction, an eBay auction, a long, long time ago, and I wish the wife of one of the members of the group, I was outbidding them, and I felt bad because he didn't own a copy of the record. Now, I don't know if he's out there still, and I don't know who it was, but I do have 2 copies of that record. So I would like to give it to the owner or to the member of the group if he wants to come forward. Anyway, Johnny G here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Let's play a few more here for this next artist out of Chicago. He was previously a member of the Palms that recorded on the United label. He was also one of the 2 leads of the Shepherds on Apex. The other lead was Millard Edwards, but this singer also did leads with the Shepherds, but he has this solo release on the Apex label, and I think the Shepherds are backing him up. There's no mention on the label of the Shepherds, but his name is Murray Eskridge. As we move into 1962, June 62, Murray Eskridge on Apex. It's called So in Need for Love.
Bye.
out of Chicago, Illinois there. Murray Eskridge and the Shepherds, I'm guessing. June 1962 release, So In Need for Love on the Apex record label out of Chicago, Illinois. Johnny G here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Let's continue here, and this next group, they're from Trenton, New Jersey. Their debut single was the very first 45 to come out on Joe Evans' Carnival label. And they were called the Trentines. This song charted regionally number 68 on WATT in their hometown of Trenton. We go to May of 62 for the Trentines on Carnival. It's called My Baby's Gone.
This is the wedding ring my boyfriend gave to me. He said our marriage would one day surely be, but now he's gone. My baby's gone. I don't know why. My baby's gone. He said he loved me. He would be true. He took my best friend instead of me. Now why did he leave me? Why did he go? I love my baby. I need him so. Come back to me. Please come on home. I want you, baby. I need you so. Why did you leave me? Why did you go? I want you, baby. I need him so. My mother told me our love would never be, and he'd take my best friend instead of me. But I guess I didn't care what my mother said. I really loved him so. Why did he leave me? Why did he go? I need my baby. I love him so. Now, Mama, please tell me what I gotta do to make my baby come back to me. I love him.
That's a great record, early soulful tune there by the Trentines. May 1962, My Baby's Gone is the name of that one. It's on the Carnival label, Joe Evans Carnival Records. It kicked off the label, Carnival 501, for that one. Johnny G here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. If I could hold my breath. Then let's continue. We head back to California for this next 45. It's out of San Francisco. It's on the Sequoia label. I have no other information about this group except that it's produced by Mike Valentine, and this is the intended A-side of the 45. The group is called the Night Lights, NITE-LITES. It's from May 62, and they're accompanied by the Rock-Fellas. There you go. That's everything on the label. Let's give it a spin. May 62, the Night Lights on Sequoia. It's called Lover's Twist.
Twist, twist, twist. Twist, twist, twist. Twist, twist, twist. Slow. Twist, twist, twist. Twist, twist. Do the lover's twist. And here's how it goes.
kiss me, please?
Like this. Twist, twist with your miss. Twist, twist, give me a kiss. Twist, twist, twist like this.
Twist, twist, twist with your little miss. Twist a little goes on, then you get Now with your hair in this position, but you need time to make your decision. Do one others twist. Just twist yourself at the door, out into the street. No one will know you're gone. They're too busy
Watching their feet.
There we go as we're twisting here as we wind down here in the Vinyltreasure Show. Those are called the Night Lights. The Night Lights, May 1962. That is the A side of the 45 on the Sequoia label out of San Francisco, California. Lover's Twist is the name of that one. Let's continue now. And on the last Vinyltreasure Show, I closed the show with this singer from Long Island, New York. His name was Nick Cardell. I featured the B-side of this 45 that came out on the Liberty label. It was called How Can I Help It? That was the closer, but I also like the A side, and it's with a vocal group backing him up. And this side was also written by John Lindy and Pete Antell. This one charted regionally, number 40 on WHYN out of Springfield, Massachusetts, from February 63, Nick Cardell on Liberty. It's called Arlene.
Shine as bright above
His name is Nick Cardell. He's out of Long Island. Nick Cardell there with Arlene, February 1963 on the Liberty record label. Has an, another release in 64 on the Amcam label, a cool tune I like called I Stand Alone. Johnny G here doing Vinyltreasure Overtime as I'm losing my voice. here, but here is another 45 out of the state of Ohio. We played a lot of groups out of Ohio tonight. It's on a deluxe custom press. The label's called Hard Times. That's the record label, Hard Times. Now, the artist goes by the name of Little Ron Johnson, and it's the first of two he had on the Hard Times label. Now, the beginning of this song reminds me of a song as done by the Students, but you could be the judge. Let's go to February 62 for Little Ron Johnson on Hard Times. It's called Mama Don't Allow.
I want a girlfriend, but Mama says I'm so young. Mama would have a natural fear if she knew the things I'd done. Mama don't know that I go downtown Sunday night to 7. Mama don't know the cute little girl that sends my heart straight to heaven. Mama don't know that we shared a kiss and I held her oh so tight. Mama don't know that this little girl is much to my delight. If Mama knew, she'd probably tell me that we're much too young to know what it's all about. But I won't tell, I'll never ever tell until the time comes when I want a wedding bell. Mama don't know that I plan to give this little girl my honey. Mama don't know that we have spoke of love and matrimony. Hey! If Mama knew, she'd probably tell me that we're much too young to know what it's all about. But I won't tell, I'll never ever tell until the time comes when I want a wedding bell. Mama don't know that I gladly give this little girl my honey. Mama don't know that we have spoke love and matrimony.
Scratchy 45s here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Little Ron Johnson. The beginning sounded to me a little bit like a Students song. But anyway, February 62, Mama Don't Allow on the Hard Times record label. Little Ron Johnson. Odd thing is that the writer credit goes to someone by the name of Magnificent Charles, which is pretty interesting. Let's continue here. A little bit more Overtime. A girl group out of Los Angeles, California. This is produced by Cliff Goldsmith. The group is called the Playgirls, not to be confused with the Playgirls that recorded for RCA, which Darlene Love was a member of. But this is a totally different group. We go to January 63, the Playgirls on Galaxy with their tune called Bells.
Ringing loud, clear.
That's a nice girl group sound there by the Playgirls. The Playgirls from January 63, Galaxy Records, song entitled Bells. Now let's stay with the Bells theme for this 45 out of Plattsburgh, New York. They're called Rondak Records. This one features Ben Everest on lead. This one from 63. They're called The Inspirations on Rondak. It's called Ring Those Bells.
Ring, 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 ring those bells, ring those bells. I want to hear them ring them loud, ring them clear. I want to hear them ring. Oh, what magical feeling! Oh, what magical things they do to me. Do to me. Ring those bells, ring those bells. They make you sing so near. Ring those bells, ring those bells. They're all I want to hear. Oh, what wonderful feeling! Oh, what fabulous things they make me feel. Make me feel. Ring, 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 dong, dong, ring those bells, ring those bells. I love to hear their songs. Ring them loud, ring them clear. They make me sing along. Oh, what magical feeling! Oh, what magical things they do to me. Do to me. Ring, 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 dong, ding, dong, ring, 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 bong, ring, 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 dong. Oh, what magical feeling! Oh, what magical things they do to me. Do to me. Ding, 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 dong. Ding, 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 dong. Ding, 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 dong. Ding, 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 dong.
If you notice, I've had these Bells records left off from probably the Christmas holidays. Not that there were holiday songs, but Bells kind of go with it. But they're a pretty cool tune there by a group called The Inspirations, 1963 on the Rondak label. Ring Those Bells. And wouldn't you know, I have one more 45 with a bell theme, but can't find any info on the group. But the interesting thing about this record is it's produced by James Brown, came out on the Mercury label. Now, Brown was recording on the subsidiary Smash at the time. I remember when I worked for Sony Music, my boss was telling me something about James Brown couldn't do any vocals for Smash Records for some reason, but he was producing records with the Smash and Mercury folks. But anyway, the writers of this song are Wade Davis and Ted Wright. It's from May 64. They're called The Epics. The Epics on Mercury. It's called The Bells Are Ringing.
The bells, they are ringing, they are ringing for you and me, dear. We'll walk down the aisle. You're wearing a smile. My dear, I will wait for your return, dear. I'll ride you forever, and I'm hoping that you'll be better.
That is a James Brown production, believe it or not. Yes, Daryl. I think that's because he was signed with King Records at the time. But those are the Epics, May 1964 release on the Mercury record label. The bells are ringing. Yes, Linda, the reason why that label is bunched up like that, it was probably cooled too fast. And it kind of like wrinkled that label a little bit. Anyway, let's continue here. And geez, I might as well play the other three records before we sign off here. Just got 3 more 45s to go. Then we're going to sign off. But that's all the records I had programmed for tonight. So here is another group from Brooklyn, New York. They named themselves after the musical Camelot. They have 2 releases on the Anko label. This is their second, and it's a cover song. It was first recorded by the 5 Classics in 1960. So this one features David Nichols on lead. It's with Al Brown and the Cordials, it says. We go to Anko Records. This is from 1963. Give a listen to the Camelots with their rendition of the tune My Imagination.
Are you as beautiful as I think you are? Or is it my imagination? Can you love my will? Or is it fascination?
those are the Camelots. The Camelots from 1963 on the Anko label. Their rendition of the tune My Imagination. And that's their second release on the Anko label. The first one is that's an a cappella record. What is that record? Don't Leave Me, Baby. I think it was a pretty cool a cappella record by the Camelots. Anyway, they have other releases on the Crimson label, Ember label, and also on the Relic label. 2 more 45s to go before Johnny G signs off. And up next, a trio from Chicago, Illinois. The group consisted of Walter Granger, Ronnie Strong, and lead singer Donald Jenkins. They were called the Daylighters. Not to be confused with the other Daylighters group that recorded for Tip Top. Now, this is the first of 2 on Bill Ehrman's Cortland label. This one charted number 64 on Billboard, 54 on Cashbox, but a big number 7 on KQV, 1410 AM out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We go to July of 1963. Cortland Records for Donald Jenkins and the Daylighters, and their tune called Elephant Walk.
When your stomach speaks, you forget your mind. When your mind speaks, you forget your heart. But when your heart speaks, you forget everything. Oh, the night was splendid and serene. Yes, when a native girl wiggled right into my dreams. She did a little dance. It seemed so popular. And I lost my heart in darkest Africa. She did a dance, it brought romance, the Annabelle on. And whoa, those swaying hips, they put me in a trance. And all at once, I began to dance. The feeling, yeah, 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 is paradise, I know. For an American boy from the south side of Chicago. Elephant walk, Lord, Lord, Lordy, Lord, Lord, Lord. Crazy memories, Lord, Lord, Lordy, Lord. If they knew what I knew, there wouldn't be no wars. There'd only be time for a little girl and boy. Crazy melody, always haunting me. Crazy melody, always haunting me.
Wow, what a cool record that is from July 1963. Donald Jenkins and the Daylighters. Donald Jenkins and the Daylighters on the Cortland label. That's the first of 2 that they did. Actually, the full title of the record is called, parentheses, Native Girl Elephant Walk. That's a pretty cool, soulful type sound here as we close down the Vinyl Treasure Show. That's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to original vinyl 45s out of my collection. You want to get in touch with me, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. We've been recording this one on YouTube. Hopefully it's going to post, although it says my video may be temporarily blocked because I think it's running a filter as I play. So I noticed in the beginning of the show that I didn't have that, but then later on I did. So maybe they just won't block it. So maybe they'll just give me little strikes. But anyway, that's the way it goes. You can go to my website, vinyltreasures.net. You can stream or download the shows there any time of day. They're put up on my website. And that's going to do it for tonight, folks. I had a blast spinning these original vinyl 45s. Nothing really ultra rare, but lots of great records, lots of great music, sounds out of my collection. We're going to close tonight with a group. We're going to go back to the Joe Evans Carnival label. We're going to close with this group from Jersey City, New Jersey. They were called the Manhattans. I played the B-side of this 45, their second for Carnival, a number of weeks ago. It was called Call Somebody Please. The A-side's good too, and it features Winfred Lovett on lead. They had a total of 14 releases on the Carnival label between 64 and 68. This is their second. The closers from August 64, the Manhattans on Carnival with There Goes a Fool. It's time for Johnny G to go. I don't know if I'm a fool. Maybe I'm a fool, but I don't know that. But anyway, I hope you dug on all the tunes tonight. Please tune in tomorrow evening for my buddy Dave the Rave and his Relics and Rarity shows. It all starts at 9 p.m. here, 9 to midnight, right here on Top Shelf Oldies, and all the other shows during the week on Top Shelf. But it's been a blast for me, and thank you, Charlene, again for all your help. And I'll be back next Saturday starting at 10 o'clock, 10 to midnight right here with a little bit of overtime, a lot of overtime tonight. But I had fun doing it. We played all the records, so I'll have another cool 43 for you next Saturday. So everybody have a safe and happy week. I'll see you here next Saturday. Just want to say, everybody, so long.
Say, there goes a fool.
Okay, folks, I just shut down the Top Shelf Oldies. I shut down the Top Shelf Oldies. See, I could still go. I could still play records, but I can't. I'm tired. I'm tired. I got a whole bunch of records here. Whole bunch of stuff. See, I got them all along the wall here. Whoops. Well, I don't want to turn this all the way around. I don't want to drop that thing. Anyway, but here's the closer, the Manhattans, There Goes a Fool. There you go. On the Carnival label. So, I got some cool stuff coming up. Who was it? Did anybody want to hear 78s? Somebody told me they wanted me to play 78s. I forget who that was. Who was that in the, was it anybody that's currently still watching that wanted to hear 78s? But anyway, so I played all the records. I don't think I have anything else I could show you here in the no humidity, well, it's not the no humidity basement. The, let me see, nothing here. No, this is Bill Haley and the Saddlemen. Do you like Bill Haley and the Saddlemen? That is Cindy in my picture. Okay, Alex. But let's see, what else do I have here? Ed Bruce, See the Big Man Cry. Here's some Dick Dale's. I can't play Dick Dale on my group harmony because I get a lot of old time collectors that tune in on the archive. But I got all these Dick Dales we could play. I could do a surf show. I got a lot of his. Let's see, what do I got here? Anything else? No, but, same old stuff around. So that's going to do it, folks. Watch out for the snow tomorrow. I'll be back next Saturday at 10 o'clock with more records for you folks. So just want to say, everybody, so long. Have a great week. Bye-bye. I am going to bed, Linda. Bye-bye. Stop streaming.